Hello users, and welcome to another episodic installment of Above It All, the series in which I talk about how much of a genius I am. I'm super smart, and I'm going to do an official prediction video. This is my official prediction video for the month of February as far as the elections are concerned, the first four primary states. So I'm probably going to do even more prediction videos right before New Hampshire and right before Nevada and so forth. So I will constantly amend this, or at least touch base with how correct I might be. But Iowa is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7, we will start the Iowa caucus. We will know by like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock or so, presumably, who won the Iowa caucus. Now, at this point, I'm going to be honest. Now, I'm a Bernard supporter. That might be obvious going by the background in which I've got the Bernard merch going on. As like a little Easter egg in the background. Always try to be. Gotta rep Bernard. So, my prediction for Iowa, Bernard's going to win. I think that's not really in question at this point. So keep in mind that Iowa is a caucus state, which is super important to keep in mind. And in a caucus state, you have the chance to do a second ballot. So for example, if you're in your district, right, and you only got 10% of the room that wants Warren, you get a chance to, in that 10%, say, well, I guess Warren's not viable. Let's just go to Sanders, or let's just go to Biden. And that's important. That's super important to understand for this the caucuses. And I believe Nevada is also a caucus. I just looked this up just to verify it. Because I did hear some shit about Nevada or other state not being a caucus anymore. But yeah, Nevada is a caucus. And, maybe I look a little foolish for not looking this up before the video, but at the same time, I was pretty sure, and I am sure. It turns out that my pretty sure was 100% correct, and I am correct. So my predictions for Iowa as far as the caucus stuff goes also would fall in line with Nevada. I don't think Warren's going to be viable. I think really it boils down to Bernard and Biden as far as viability concerns. I think Buttigieg in some districts, yeah, he's going to be viable. Maybe even Warren might be viable in some districts. Hell, there might be a district where Klobuchar is viable. Who knows? But I do think Bernard's going to win, but it really does come down to how many delegates Bernie is going to get versus Biden. Now, do I think that Bernie can get every single delegate? It's possible, very distinct possibility, but unlikely. But he's definitely going to win. I think he's going to get a majority of delegates. I think that the final vote count, I'm going to just guess that Sanders will be anywhere between 40 to 50% of the final vote count in Iowa. And that's taking in the prediction of the caucus viability. I think Yang people, 5%. I think that's going to go for Bernie. I think Gabbard people probably will go for Bernie. I think Steyer people honestly could go either way. Warren people, I want to say that Warren people will break for Bernie before they break for Biden. I want to say. I'm sure not all of them will, and that's a very fractured base there, but I want to say that Warren people will break for Bernie before Biden. I hope. And if that's the case, then that's what I'm basing my prediction on. And Buttigieg, it really, like, his people, I think, will break for Bernie way before Biden, I think. And that's just, Now, so, like, if we take with the aspect of two people being viable, two people being really the only choices, I do think Bernie wins that contest. So I think it's totally possible, and I'm putting my non-existent bets that Bernard will win Iowa with around 40 to 50%. Now New Hampshire's a different story because New Hampshire's a primary and not a caucus. So you have direct voting. And so anytime you vote for a candidate that is not going to get 15%, if you vote for Andrew Yang, if you vote for Amy Klobuchar, if you vote for Tom Steyer, if you vote for Mike Bennett, who somehow is on that list, you're wasting your goddamn time. You might as well just stay at home and eat a taco or a fucking grilled cheese sandwich or something. Like, you're just wasting everyone's time. You're wasting the pollster's time. You're wasting your time. You're just a garbage human being. And I mean that with all due respect. So I think Sanders, totally possible that he's going to win New Hampshire. Now, it's also, again, totally possible he's going to sweep New Hampshire. By that, I mean no one else gets the viability threshold. Now, again, it's totally possible some districts you'll have, a delegate or two go to Biden, or, it's maybe Buttigieg, maybe. Possibly Warren, possibly, like a delegate or two. But I do think a majority of the percentage points, the delegates rather, will go for Bernie. And it's hard to say. I think what the final vote will be, again, it's a primary and not a caucus, so people don't get that second chance thing that happens during caucuses. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that Bernie is going to maybe not sweep, as in get every single delegate, but he's going to, I think, sweep the national tallies. I think he'll probably win New Hampshire with around 40 to 50 points. And this is assuming he wins Iowa. So I think that there's going to be momentum there. And I do think he'll win New Hampshire with around 40 to 50 points. Maybe 50 is maybe that's a little too reachy, I think. But I do think he can win with 40 points. Totally possible. And that's going to be my official prediction that I'm setting in there. And so Nevada, again, this is going to be off the backs of Iowa and New Hampshire. Right now, Nevada's a tie in the polling, statistically. I think that tie can easily break. And this is a caucus state. So you have to keep that in mind. You get the second chancers. With that in mind, I think it might be a little more interesting than Iowa, especially, again, because it takes place third. I think that it's totally possible that Bernie will win, again, with 40 to 50% with caucusing. Because I do think Warren voters will break for Bernie before Biden. I totally think that, at least the majority. I don't think all of them will. Like, I'm not saying that they're all a monolith, but I'm saying it's likely that, 70% of Warren voters would go to Bernie, and then 30% would go to Biden, or something like that. That's what I'm basing this prediction off of. I think Bernie's going to win with somewhere around 40 to 50%. Like with the Iowa caucus, I think it's going to be very similar. Maybe Biden will get more delegates than he would in Iowa. It's totally possible. Again, I'm not too informed on Nevada compared to Iowa, just because there's so less polling done on Nevada. Look, there's 3 polls here that make up the RCP average. One of them is from fucking November. You know what I mean? So it's really difficult to actually get a good reading here. But I do think, especially after Iowa and New Hampshire, I do think if Bernie wins both of those with a very decisive victory, it's totally possible we see similar results in Nevada. Totally possible. And then my final prediction is going to be South Carolina. So a new poll came out. I've been looking at some Twitter stuff. It seems the methodology of that poll isn't the greatest, but at the same time, I'm going to take that into effect, and I'm going to take into effect the trend of him winning all 3 of the first primary / caucus states. I do think that if he wins all 3 of the previous ones, it's totally 1,000% possible he wins South Carolina. Now, I think Biden's going to, no matter what, I think Biden's going to take a very hefty amount of delegates from South Carolina. I do think that that's going to happen. I don't think it's possible for him to get trounced so hard he plummets below 15% in most districts. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be a lot of districts that Biden wins in a landslide, and I think there's going to be a lot of districts that Bernie wins in a landslide, and there's going to be a lot in between. And this is really difficult to predict, again, because the first 3 elections do actually impact this election as well. So it's again, if my predictions are true and he wins the first 3 states, potentially winning a few of them in decisive big victories, it's totally possible he can pull to the front of South Carolina. So I'm going to predict that he wins South Carolina. And if you would have asked me a week ago, I would say I probably think Biden would win South Carolina. But I'm being optimistic. I'm an optimist. You know, this whole campaign so far, just seeing the results of everything, the fundraising. There's a new donor map that came out. I forgot to make a video on it. I'll make a video on it after this, actually. So my next video will be on the donor map. I should have done it reversed, but what are you going to do? But yeah, so I think he's going to win South Carolina. I do. I think it really just does depend on how much he wins by, and that's the big question. And I think it's totally possible he wins by like 3 or 4 points. I think that's totally possible. I think, as of right now, my official prediction on South Carolina, I think Bernie squeaks by with somewhere between 25 to 30 points, with everyone else getting below that. I think that that's probably going to happen. Now, again, it really does depend. It really does depend because it is possible. Cory Booker's still in this polling, but it is totally possible that people in South Carolina realize, yeah, voting for Andrew Yang or Tulsi Gabbard or Amy Klobuchar or whatever, that's a waste of my goddamn time. Like, it's totally possible that people think that. And then they coalesce. And I do think that I've seen polling that suggests that most of the time I think Bernie is a good second choice, especially in South Carolina, I would say. Now, Tom Steyer totally has a potential chance to take some delegates here. Honestly, I'm going to say his performance might be a little too unpredictable. I think he will get delegates. I think Buttigieg, no chance. I think Warren has a chance to win, at least get above viability in a few districts. I think that's totally possible. But I do think that Bernie is going to win the contest with anywhere between 25 and 30 points, I think. With Biden being maybe just a few points down, maybe like 2 or 3 points down. That's my guess. That's my official prediction. Now, we'll see. We'll see. Tomorrow, 24 hours, 28 hours from now, whenever, I could be a complete moron. It could look like I'm a complete fucking idiot. It's totally possible, but I totally think he's going to win the first 4 states. I think he's going to win a decisive victory in the caucus states and in New Hampshire. And I think that going into South Carolina can totally, and he could win even more. So I'm just being conservative there because I don't have that much faith in South Carolina. But I'm more than willing to be proven wrong, more than willing. And just another thing is, like, if you look at the betting odds here, like, Bernard is holding number 1 in the betting odds, and these are constantly refreshed. You know, there's so much data for betting odds, and if people are going to put their money on the line, they're probably going to do a lot more research than people who don't look at anything and just go like, I like Biden on the cell phone or the landline or whatever, you know what I mean? So I'm saying this is all the information. These are all my sources. I'm going to say he wins the first 4 states. Super Tuesday is a different story. I can do a soft prediction. I think he's going to win California. I think he's going to win Texas. I don't think he's going to win North Carolina, which is where I live. It's possible, but I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see, though. We'll see. But I'll do more Super Tuesday predictions probably in the next 2 weeks or so. Once the first 2 contests are done, and we're seeing more polling on the 3rd and 4th contest, and then maybe probably more California and Texas polling, then I'll probably do another prediction on that one. But right now, I do think it's possible he wins Texas, and I do think he's going to win California. But yeah, this is my video. If you have any questions, if you want to put your predictions in the comments, feel free, and I will see you later. So, feel the burn, etc. I love coffee.